welcome to Peek and Choose My 5-Star Lifestyle. I am Nicole Payne, and I am, as usual, very happy to have you join me today because I am so excited to always share the things that I implement every day into my life that makes me live a 5-star lifestyle from the inside out. So those 5 things are my imagination. I tap into that every day. I follow my intuition. I live my passion. I connect with myself and with people around me. And every day I make choices that at the end of each day leaves me happy, because that's my bottom line, happiness, right? Because, you know, you can have everything in the world, but if you don't have your health and happiness with you, then, you know, what's the purpose of life? You know, you're just grinding for, I don't know, success and whatever things whatever dreams you have. Like, it's okay to go after those things, but when you achieve it and you can't celebrate it and you can't be happy, you can't go to bed at night feeling like, you know what, I'm okay with life, then, you know, like, what's the point? You know, we're here for a short time, just to celebrate it. I am going to share a story that I experienced as a child, but it resonated with me because it was shown to me indirectly, and I learned the life lesson that way, that you know, sometimes you just got to observe people and watch, and you don't always have to go through something in order to learn something. So as a child, I observed this situation, and it has helped me every day of my life. As I said, it's one of those things where when you learn something, you have to grow from it, you have to implement it, and you'll see great success and change in your life, all right? And fruit, great fruit, healthy fruit. So I remember going to my father's office after school, and his office assistant, he had an office assistant. I won't use his name because, you know, for those people that know my dad or know of this person, you know, we don't want to identify them, but it's just a really cool story and a really cool person I want to address today and share about them today. So yeah, he was a gentleman, a real gentleman. So my dad, on the lower part of his office building, he had a mechanic shop. So, you know, you're thinking grease and dirty cars and men swearing and yelling, and, you know, and then you go past, you know, before you hit that, you go upstairs, and he has 3 levels of, you know, offices with everybody dressed appropriately for work. And amidst everybody's, you know, attire for work, we have this guy. Let's call him Ed. I hope I remember to call him Ed throughout this little story. But yeah, so Ed, he was an office assistant, as I mentioned, but the way he dressed, you would think he was the CEO of the company. I mean, he dressed better than my dad, if I'm going to be honest, you know. My dad, I mean, he was pretty laid back. He was that jeans and shirt guy. He owned the company. He didn't have to dress up. He wore sandals, my dad, to work because he had size 13 feet. He couldn't even find shoes to fit him. So yeah, but this guy, Ed, he showed up every day I mean, you can actually see the crease on his shirt, you know, his dress shirt, and it's hot in Guyana. But he wore a long sleeve shirt, you can see the crease, you know, where he ironed it, and it was tucked into his pants, neat as if he was in the military, his belt done up right, and, you know, his shoes always shiny, very polite, you know. He just, you know, wasn't a talker. You know, I'd show up in my dad's office, and, you know, he'll greet me very politely, you know, and he'll say if my dad's in, and if my dad's not, you know, he'll bring me up to the office. And if my dad wasn't there, he'll like just sit while I sit. He'll just stand around, and you know me. I've always been, not that you know me, but I'm always that person that I love to interact with people. So even though I was a child, you know, in school, in my uniform, you know, I'll still make conversation with him and talk about, you know, what's happening around the office and stuff like that. And never a bad word about anybody. Always in a good mood. Always just a smile. You know, a very nice person. I felt very safe around him, and obviously my dad felt comfortable with him because, you know, I mean, my brothers and sisters, we all went after school to my dad's office, and yes, Ed was always there to greet us, you know. He even drove us sometimes when we had to get to somewhere, you know, after school. He would drive us sometimes. And his job, basically, like I said, he didn't even have, I say an office assistant for the point of giving him a label per se. But he was more or less like a gopher, you know, like Dad would always call on him to go get him lunch or, you know, just help around. He didn't really have a specific job per se, but he showed up every day early, dressed properly, very, you know what I mean, in place, everything in place. All right, why am I mentioning this? It sounds like, okay, it's just, okay, so this guy works for your dad and he dresses nicely and he's polite. Well, there's a backstory to this guy. See, I, in passing, heard the adults talking, you know, because they don't think kids are listening. But the backstory behind this gentleman, and I call him a gentleman because that's what he was like, or is, he actually, this might be a little bit graphic, so bear with me. He actually was an accountant in his previous career before working for my dad, and he went home one day after work on the lunch break, and he had a nervous breakdown, more or less. That's what you'd have to call it, because what he ended up doing was he basically killed his wife, his family, murdered them. Yep. Yes. I know. Very graphic, very gruesome, and, you know, it was all over the news, obviously. And then he obviously served time, and I don't know how long the time was, but obviously he was now out of jail, and now he was working for my dad, and he's been working there for a while. I say that to say, I didn't know this about him. I would have never suspected this about him. And everybody knew that about him, and nobody treated him any differently. He was well respected. He was, you know, he was one of the guys, but he kept himself, he kept to himself, but it was just interesting that he, you know, went to this job, and every day he was so happy to be there. Every day he was like, he was showing up for his work, because you could tell you, after the fact, I realized why he was the way he was. It's like, he realized he had been given a second chance, you know, and he was going to put his best foot forward every single time. He was that grateful, you know. And after I learned about his past, I kind of saw him in a different light, but not in a bad way. It was like admiration, you know. It's like, okay, you know what? I was like, what you did was terrible. I didn't even dwell on that. It was more like, you came through that, and you can still lift your head every day, you know, and come to work. And I think it was mostly, and I know that, and I shouldn't say I think, it's mostly because of what my father offered him. My father offered him a safe place. My father offered him forgiveness. My father opened the doors for him, gave him a second chance to, you know, to get back into society and community, and, you know, help him to restore his life and have a new start, you know, with no judgment. And he never had to broadcast it to any of us or try to pull us in the corner and say, okay, watch out for this guy, because no, nothing of the sort. He was just another person here working, but of all the other workers there, you know what I mean, I knew he was like dedicated, committed. And when I realized that, you know, part of it could have been because of, you know, him getting a second chance, that he was like, you know, so thankful that he was going to give his all, it actually made me think, you know what, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, you know, if you mess up in life, you know, if you are willing to repent and, you know, make it right, and when somebody offers you a hand, you take that hand with so much appreciation and gratitude, and try to make the best of what you have of your life, the new start. Then, you know, you've achieved a second chance, and you're going to give life, you know, give it all that you can give, right? I know I've spoken with people over the years, and I hear people say things like, you know, this person did this to me, I'll never forgive them, you know, or this person hurt me and I hate them, and this person, you know what I mean, they just cannot release that person because of what they've experienced, you know, something negative, something bad. But, you know, everybody says the saying, you know, when you know, don't forgive, it's like poisoning yourself. And then the other thing we say is like, you know, forgive and forget, you know. It's easy to say forgive and forget, but nobody forgets. That's the truth. That's the reality. I would rather say forgive and love, because you can choose to love. You can't choose to forget. Your memory is like that. It is what it is. You know, something will trigger it, you know, and memories come flooding back. Emotions come flooding back. But you can counter that with love. So even though somebody may have done something to you that may cause you to be like so hurt, so devastated, so betrayed, okay? That's okay. It's happened. It's done. They may come back and repent, and they may not come back and repent. Your place is to say, you know what, you hurt me, but I cannot carry this hurt anymore. I'm going to release you, and I'm going to love you, right? I don't like you, you don't have to love it. You don't have to like everybody, okay? But you have to love everybody. That's the difference. I know it sounds a bit, extreme. You can't like, but you can have to love. Love is not just a feeling, and it's not even a feeling, it's an act, okay? So when you have to forgive somebody and you have to love them, it's more like, okay, so I know you said this about me, this hurt me, you've done this to me, and this hurt me, but when I see you in need, I will overlook that and help you because I know you need help. I want to help you because I have risen above what was done, what was said, what had happened, and I want to be a better person. I want to grow. I want to be free, okay? And 9 out of 10 times, with that act of kindness in that place where it's not deserved, right? Because after all, they did wrong. You may turn a heart around. You may turn a life around. Not everybody will, on the first time, change because you've done something good for them in spite of what they've done to you. But in the same breath, you are sowing a seed in their life to say, you know what, I know I did wrong to this person. I know I hurt them, but you know what, they're still kind to me. They're still nice to me. They're still reaching out to me. I need to set it right. I need to get it straight, right? So, but get it straight first with yourself, all right? You can forgive. You don't have to forget. You can like, but you have to love. You have to choose to love, all right? So if you want to live a 5-star lifestyle from the inside out, start with love. Start with choosing what's right and forgiving, giving second chances to others that don't deserve it. Because there's going to come a time when you won't deserve it. But somebody might reach out and say, listen, I know you step out of line here and you hurt me, but I'm willing to let it go, right? Been there as well, all right? So if you want to experience life in its fullness, a 5-star lifestyle from the inside out, choose love, and everything else will fall into place because that's how it works, all right? I absolutely love you. Pick and choose my 5-star lifestyle.
Like and subscribe and watch for your notification. Pick and choose your 5-star lifestyle, my 5-star lifestyle.